Hey everyone, Learn to Crochet Part 2 with Coach Mel. So we're going to move on to the next two stitches. So we're going to do a half double crochet today and a double crochet. So I'm going to do a quick review on the slip knot and the chain because that's where we need to start things off. So for that slip knot, I'm going to go around my fingers. I'm going to loop it up through, and I'm going to hold that loop. I take those fingers out and I hold both the lead yarn and the tail, and I pull it into that little knot. All right. From there, I'm going to put my hook in and tighten it. Don't do too tight, but you don't want it loose either. You just want it kind of snug next to that. Now our chain, I'm going to show you again what I did there. I went around my finger and over. I call this the yarn finger. I use my middle finger and my thumb to hold right at the knot. And for the chain, you're going to grab and come through. Let me get a little closer so you can see. Grab that yarn and come through. As I do this, I move my hands up closer. The closer you are to the stitch that you're working on, the more control that you will have. You have to figure out how to use this hand to hold your work while you're going. I like to leave my index finger off and my middle finger and thumb holding right up next to the stitch that I'm working on. So I'm just going to do a few here. Pull through, pull through. You want to try to keep it nice and even. All right, and let's do one more. We're going to start the half double crochet. Now my wise guy husband says, well, isn't that a single? No, it's called a half double. It's different than a single. So we're going to start on the chain, and then I'll show you also how to do it in the stitches. I start my half double crochet in the second chain from the hook. So we do not count the loop that's on the hook. Here's my first chain right here, which is that last one that I just put in, and here's my second chain from the hook. So we're going to yarn over. I like to slide that down a little bit, hold it with my finger, okay, and go into that chain. And we're going to do what's called pulling up a loop. So grab that yarn and pull it through. So you now have 3 loops on your hook. Now we got to go get that yarn again and rotate. Notice the rotation here that's happening. Rotate that, what do you want to call it? The point of your hook down, and then pull through those 3 loops. All 3 loops. Let's do that again. So I'm going to yarn over first. So put yarn onto your hook. Bring yourself through that next stitch. Grab the yarn, pull up a loop. So now we have 1, 2, 3 loops on the hook. Yarn over. And now we're going to pull through all 3. So again, holding this is really, really important. We're going to yarn over, go through the next one. I like to keep my thumb right near that stitch that I'm going into. Go through, pull up your loop. All right. I'm moving my fingers now over to right at that stitch so I have good control. Yarn over, rotate down, and pull through all 3. Let's do it again. In through the next stitch, pull up your loop. Oh, I forgot to yarn over first. I was about to do a single. Yarn over first, in through that next stitch, pull up your loop, yarn over, and pull through all 3. I'm just going to keep going right down to the end of my chain here. Same thing, but I want you to see it over and over again. And you need to practice crochet, especially if you're just starting out. The hardest part is figuring out how to hold the yarn. Once you get that figured out and how to control your work, it'll get easier. I promise. You have to practice, and you have to have patience with yourself, please. All right, so I'm going into this last chain right here, and I'm finishing that first row. So there's my first row of my half double crochet. I have to say this is a favorite stitch. A lot of the design I do with half doubles. It's nice and quick. It gives it a little bit more height for each row, and I just really like the looks of it. All right, we're going to go back in the other direction, and now we're going to go into that stitch. So we're going to chain 1, just how we started, like chain 1, and we're going to turn our work. The work that we're going towards is going to be over here, all right, and what we're finishing is going to come off to the other side. So we're going to do half doubles now. Remember, here's your stitch, that V. All right, and we're gonna go into the stitch. We're gonna go right through that. So yarn over, go into that hole right there, pull up your loop, yarn over, come through all three. Again, yarn over, in through the stitch, and I'm getting under both parts of that V, pull up your loop, yarn over, come through all three. Keep doing that all the way down and come through. Yarn over, into your stitch. You can watch this in slow-mo, you could change it on YouTube if you need to. Yarn over, in, pull up your loop, yarn over, and come through. Yarn over first, in through that stitch, yarn over, pull through. Yarn over, into that stitch. I want to get down to that last one so I could show it to you. It's the one that people miss. Yarn over, into that stitch. All right, now, some people would end right there. And if you keep ending right there, what's going to happen is you're going to start to go in, okay? There's one more stitch right here. It kind of lays down, so it's not this here, but if I go like this, you're going to see that V. See that V right there? That is your last stitch. So we need to get behind that V, pull up your loop, yarn over, and come through. All right? Then I'm going to do a chain one and turn, and I'm just going to keep going on that. All right? So go ahead and practice that for a bit. We're going to do the double crochet next. But right there is your half double crochet. So practice. I'm going to pause the video for a brief second and then we will come back and we'll do a double crochet. All right, time for our double crochet. So I brought myself back down to a chain so that I can show you the start from there. All right. So what we're going to do this time is we're going to start from the third chain from the hook. So do not count what's on your hook. This right here is the last chain that I made. So it's 1, 2, and we're going to go to this third one right here. We start the exact same way as that half double crochet by a yarn over. Go ahead and put your hook into your chain and pull up your loop. So exact same. We have 1, 2, 3 on our hook. This is where things change. We're going to yarn over, turn that hook, and just come through 2 and pull yourself back up. All right, watch the rotation of the hook here. Yarn over, I rotate towards me to come through, and then bring it back up. All right, so yarn over, come through 2, yarn over, come through 2. Let's do them, this whole chain together. Yarn over, go into the stitch, pull up your loop, yarn over. Watch the rotation here. Come through 2. As I realize I finish coming through 2, I rotate that hook back up so that I don't go through the last one, and I slide my stitches back, grab my yarn, and come through the last 2. Okay, so what you're seeing here is it's making a longer stitch. Let's do it again. Yarn over, into the stitch, pull up your loop, yarn over, rotate, come through 2, come back up, grab your yarn, rotate, come through the last 2. Yarn over, into the next, pull up your loop, yarn over, come through 2, yarn over, come through 2. All right, let's keep going, because again, you got to practice this. Into the next stitch, pull up your loop. Try to be loose, holding on to, don't super grip and get your arms tired from holding on. It's also going to help you get a nice rhythm and a rotation. Come through and through. If you do this really, really tight, it's going to be hard for you to get your hook into there. Go through your chain, pull up your loop, yarn over, come through 2, yarn over, come through 2. All right, we've got a couple left here. Let's do them together. Yarn over, into your chain, pull up your loop, which just means come back through that chain, yarn over, come through 2, rotate, yarn over, come through 2. Excellent. Let's get 2 more. Into your chain, pull up your loop, yarn over, come through 2, yarn over, come through 2, And last one right here, into your chain. Pull up that loop, yarn over, come through 2, yarn over, come through 2. All right, so there's our double crochet, and now we're gonna turn. Now, I will tell you right now that there are some places that are gonna tell you to chain 2, to chain 3, whatever on your turns. I do not use the chain as a stitch. It helps keep your work much straighter if you don't use that as a stitch, because most people lose it. So I'm just going to chain 1, just like we did with a half double. I'm going to move my work over to the side, and I am going to start in this very first stitch here, which was right under my chain. So yarn over, I'm going into that stitch, just like we did on the half double. Pull up the loop. We've got 3 on our hook. Yarn over, come through 2, yarn over, come through 2, okay? Always holding nice and close to where you're working. That is gonna help you keep control. All right, here's our next stitch. See that V? We're gonna go under that V. Yarn over, pull up your loop, yarn over, come through 2, yarn over, come through 2. Again, in through the next stitch, pull up your loop. Grab that yarn, come through 2, come through 2. Next one, start with the yarn over. Come through, pull up your loop, yarn over, come through 2, yarn over, come through 2. We're going to keep doing that. Yarn over, come through 2, yarn over, come through 2. Good. Next stitch. Yarn over, come through 2. So my DNA is in everything that I do. My hair gets caught in there, and come through 2. Yarn over, into that next stitch. Come through 2, come through 2. Good, we're almost there. Yarn over, into the next stitch. Pull up your loop. Come through 2, come through 2. And last one, remember, I call it the sleepy stitch because it's laying down. So that's the front of it. But if you look right here, look at that V right there. That is your last stitch right there. We have to use it. Get in through there. Now, I showed you on part 1. If you didn't see it, you can go back and look. You can use stitch markers on those last stitches so that you see where it is. All right. But again, I'm going to show you the turn again. I'm only going to chain 1. And I'm going to turn, and I'm going to start right here in that very first stitch. I do not count the chain. I do not do 2, 3, 4. Now, some patterns you may need to. That's a different story. But if you're just going back and forth, I'm going to start in this first one right here, and now continue across with my double crochets. All right. I'm going to speed it up a little bit. I'm not going into time warp or anything, but I just want to get across over to that other end quickly and just show you one more time the end. Yes, you too someday could be moving this quickly, but it takes practice. I have been crocheting for nearly 15 years, so don't expect to go this quickly right away. But I wanted to get down here to the end quickly for you to see. Again, there's my sleepy stitch. If I turn my work this way, I see my V. So I need to get into that to make that last one. All right. And you'll notice, look at how nice and straight my ends are. Okay. If you do more than one chain as you turn, sometimes you get a little wiggly down on the side. So that is your tutorial for your double crochet. So keep on practicing. It's all about practicing, and I'll be back in a bit with another tutorial. All right, enjoy everyone. Happy crocheting.